Hello and welcome, or welcome back, as the case may be, to the Atlantean Archive. I have just a quick video for you today on a subject that I think will be of great interest to many of you out there. And if you're anything like me, you'll probably be thinking, well, it's about darn time. Now, if you were reading horror or science fiction and fantasy back during the 80s and the 90s, the name Robert McCammon will probably be very familiar to you. Mr. McCammon wrote quite a few horror novels during that time and was often compared to Stephen King, although he never did, unfortunately, achieve Mr. King's status, his success, and notoriety. Nevertheless, his novels are fondly remembered by many today. And of all of the novels that he wrote during that time, one stands out above the others as being a great fan favorite. It's often been compared to The Stand, and many people out there who have read both books, and that would include me, considered this novel to be better than The Stand. And that's Robert McCammon's 1987 post-apocalyptic horror novel, Swan Song. This was a book I was reluctant to read at first because of the cover that was circulating at the time. I thought, oh gosh, how good can that be? But I just kept seeing it, and finally picked it up one day, started reading it, and wanted to find out why this book was so common, why so many people were reading it, and absolutely got hooked, fell in love with it. I have since probably read this book 9 or 10 times. I'm actually rereading it right now in preparation for doing a review for this channel at some point in the future. And my brother, who has heard me rave about this book before and how I've often thought that it ought to be adapted as a movie or a miniseries, sent me a very interesting, very timely article as I'm reading this book again, and I wanted to share this with you. It looks like we're finally going to get a Swan Song adaptation. In this article for Deadline, which incidentally was also shared on Robert McCammon's official website, we get the following on pre-production that's going into an adaptation of Swan Song. Swan Song, Robert McCammon's best-selling post-apocalyptic novel, is getting the small screen treatment. Monarch Media and Greg Nicotero and Brian Witten's Monster Agency Productions are teaming on an action genre series based on the horror novel. In Swan Song, following the U.S. government's nuclear showdown with an unprecedented malevolent enemy, America, as it was, is gone forever. Now the remaining citizens must fight to stay alive in a wasteland born of rage and fear, populated by monstrous creatures and marauding armies. Longtime The Walking Dead executive producer, director Nicotero and Witten will executive produce through Monster Agency, and Steve Barnett, Alan Powell, and Vicky Patel will executive produce through Monarch Media, along with McCammon. Brandy Hagerdorn will co-produce. Nicotero will also direct the pilot. A search is underway for a writer. Being a longtime fan of Robert's novels, his story of survival in a world forever changed by political mistrust and international intrigue, intertwined with a supernatural force, has always been one of my favorites, Nicotero said. The time is perfect to delve into this world. Swan Song won the 1987 Bram Stoker Award, tying with Stephen King's Misery. The post-apocalyptic world of McCammon's novel is incredibly compelling and unlike anything we have seen before in film or television, said Barnett, Powell, and Patel in a joint statement. We're very excited to bring this world to life and can't imagine any better partners for this series than Greg and Brian, particularly with Greg's years of experience in expanding the world of walkers in The Walking Dead. Nicotero has directed more than 40 episodes of The Walking Dead during a 12-year run. He's currently EP on the Norman Reedus spinoff The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, and directed the Season 2 premiere episode set to air later this year. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. After all of these years, it looks like we're finally going to get that Swan Song adaptation that so many of us have been looking forward to. And I'm hopeful that with Mr. McCammon himself directly attached to the project, that we stand a good chance of getting a good, faithful adaptation of his story and his characters for the screen, rather than somebody's attempt to, reinvent them, or God help us, make them relevant, as some people like to say, or otherwise just take his core story ideas and run off in some weird direction with them. I know many of you out there would like to see McCammon's story and McCammon's characters on the screen, and so would I, firmly in that camp. And let me know what you think about the planned format for the adaptation. I know some of us would, think it would be cool to see a story like this on the big screen, but I really think that the series format is the best format for it. That way you can take your time, you can develop the situation, you can develop the characters, get to know them, and I think treat the story and its characters in a manner that's worthy of a novel like this. Mr. McCammon, if you should happen to see this video for one reason or another, thank you for writing a wonderful novel, which has become one of my all-time favorites. And I do ask that you would use your executive powers wizardry there to make sure that it is your story and your characters that we finally get on the screen. as opposed to somebody else's vision kind of playing around in your world. But thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know again in the comments what you think about this news, if you're excited about it. What do you think about the Walking Dead director being attached to it? Do you think that takes it in a good direction? Do you think they're going to do a good job with it? Do you think it should be a period piece? Do you think that the novel's written for in the year 1987 when it takes place? Do you think they should make it for the year 1987? That's when the story takes place for the adaptation. Or do you think that it should be modernized, made for today's world, where the threat of nuclear war, such as what we see in the story, is unfortunately rearing its ugly head once again? What do you think on that score? Any other points of production that you think would be interesting to talk about? Be very interested in reading that. So thank you for watching this. I hope you're as excited by this news as I am. If you like this video, please do give it a like. Please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing the content with anybody you think would be interested. And until next time, God bless.